This is He Knows Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, folks. I want to talk about the Banana Boat crew here. Chris Paul, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwyane Wade. It seems like one of the four guys understood his NBA mortality, right? He understood his limitations in basketball, and he left at the right time. How come LeBron doesn't get it? How come Carmelo doesn't get it? And more so, the guy that I'm going to focus on, Chris Paul, how come he doesn't get it? These guys are 34 years old and 35 years old. They are aging basketball players. They are no longer what they were. If this was them in their late 20s, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But these guys are in their mid-30s, folks. Let me say it again. They're in their mid-30s. LeBron James made the worst decision in not coming out and making a public proclamation to say he's going to be a glorified Pippen to Kawhi Leonard's Kawhi Jordan. If he would have done that, we're talking about a super team of ages, man, with Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Oh, you screwed that one up. How could you have screwed that one up? But it's called Class A narcissism at the highest levels. I told you guys, he's a Class A narcissistic type. He doesn't know when to let it go. He doesn't understand his own mortality. Well, Carmelo Anthony, same thing. Look at Chauncey Billups. He done got on his ass. I love what Chauncey Billups said. He's a truth teller in that regard. He turned around and said, man, if this guy does not score 30 points, he's not happy. He's happy. But if he scores 20 or if he scores less than 30 points, then he's sitting there pouting all over the place. That should tell you guys something. That should tell you the mindset. And the bigger part, the more important part, was when Chauncey Billups turned around and said that Carmelo Anthony is not a player that has taken it to the next level mentally. And I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Plus, he's defensively irresponsible. Let me say it again. He's defensively irresponsible, or what you would say allergic to defense. And that's another huge indicator of why he wasn't a player to get to the next level. Because remember, if you're trying to be considered on the pantheon of greatness and you're trying to be considered up there with the upper echelons, then you need to be a two-way player, and you need to be extremely elite on both sides of the ball, not just one. Now let's get to Chris Paul. Chris Paul, I gotta agree with Kendrick Perkins here, man. I don't normally agree with what Kendrick Perkins is saying, but in this regard, Kendrick Perkins is like, he basically was thinking straight. He had his head on a damn swivel. You know what I'm saying? It's like for a second there, it's like I put my own basketball mind in his brain for a second. Chris Paul suffers from egoism. Let me say it again. He suffers from egoism. He's another Class A narcissistic type because he doesn't understand his limitations. He's 34 years old. He's no longer the Chris Paul of old. He needs to accept the fact that he's a number two on any team that he's playing on, where the guy is that guy. That's the problem. That's why it didn't work in the Houston Rockets. Because as much as I get on James Harden, et cetera, he should have basically said, look, this is your team, but I'm going to be the floor general to galvanize around your team. He didn't do that. And that's why that tandem did not work. And what makes me laugh is now you're going to put a Russell Westbrook that's even worse than Chris Paul. He's basically even more ball dominant ISO type player than a James Harden. I don't care that he gives you guys triple doubles. See, people get caught up in NBA stats, blah, 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 blah. That's nonsense. If you really look at it in the grand scheme of things, the reason why Russell Westbrook has not been able to take his game to the next level is because Russell Westbrook does not play the right way. There's a right way to play basketball. He does not. Plus, he doesn't listen to coaches. That's another time. That's another topic that I could talk about. But Chris Paul, man, you're going to have to come to the conclusion that you're no longer the player you once were. You are an aging superstar. You're not even a superstar. Barely a star at this point. You're aging, dude. So you're going to have to come to the mindset that you need to be a high contributor or a very good contributor role player as a number 2 or number 3 option for an elite team. And if you can't come to that conclusion, then you're not going to be able to succeed, and you're not going to be able to have that much more of an NBA career, because teams are going to catch up. And this is what I like about NBA teams. They're not playing this game no more. This is why I agree with shout outs to Woodstar, formerly known as Woodstar TV, now known as the God TV1, and he mentioned that Russell Westbrook's not going to last 3 or 4 more years in the NBA. He gave his reasons why, but I'm going to give you my reasons why. And the reason why he's not going to last is because of the fact that he does not succumb to understanding his limitations and understanding how he can evolve from those limitations. Let me say that again. He does not succumb to his limitations and understanding how he can evolve from his limitations. What Russell Westbrook needs to understand, just like what Chris Paul needs to understand in this scenario, is they are what we call a high octane beta that's operating under the principle of an alpha wannabe. Let me say that again. They are high octane betas operating under the principle of them thinking they are alpha wannabes. You're not an alpha. An alpha is the guy that is that guy. You're not that. So you need to accept that. Just like Russell Westbrook needs to accept it, Chris Paul, you need to accept this, man. You're going to have to come to this conclusion. And right now, Chris Paul's contract is crippling to any NBA team because he's aging by the minute. He's getting injuries on top of injuries. I don't know a year where Chris Paul can tell you that he has played all full season, right? And then on top of that, when he comes and plays, he's basically not delivering the goods. This man has not won an NBA title for a reason. For this guy to be the floor general that everyone says that he is, come on, man. You and I both know when the bright lights come on, the truth will reign supreme. This is why I tell people, regular season is all nice and dandy, but the postseason reveals things. Let me say it again. The regular season is all nice and dandy, but the postseason reveals things. There's a reason why Chris Paul has not won a title. There's a reason why he is not going to the NBA Finals. It's because there's something there that is lacking. And you know what it is? It's his ego, man. So Kendrick Perkins, shout outs to you, dog. You get the biggest extra salute of the damn day. This is He Knows His Sport. Checking out.